Welcome back. This week, the Christchurch Town Hall will see over 3,000 children in 70 performing groups, representing over 10 different cultures. 57 schools are participating in this year's 29th Annual Cultural Festival, themed Let's Make a Splash. And we sent Lacey Wilson down to check out some of the performances.
Casebrook Intermediate have been practising for months. In Kapahaka, Pacifica and Korean dancing, preparing for this year's cultural festival.
It's a great opportunity to see some talent that they hide to themselves within the schools and they let it come out during the festival, so it's a great time.
Casebrook's Kapahaka leaders believe the festival is about learning.
It brings people that you wouldn't usually get together with, and you will work as a group, and it'll be like it's fun to do. And you learn skills, how to work together, teamwork.
But for some, it's simpler than that.
We saw it last year and I guess we sort of just liked the dresses.
We like to be with our friends and we have lots of laughs.
The music's nice and soft and it's just nice and not rough.
I've been enjoying myself a lot and we get like special little treats all the time and it tastes really good.
And for organisers, it's a celebration.
I think it provides an essential opportunity for children to express their culture, you know, who they are, where they come from, and to really celebrate their cultural ethnicity.
Casebrook was one of the first schools to perform, taking to the stage on Monday. The final show for the Cultural Festival is Friday afternoon. Lacey Wilson, Metro News.
It's a problem facing all rural fire brigades, a lack of new volunteers. Marcus Irvine headed out to Kaipoi where they're struggling to recruit new firefighters.
You rely on them to be there when you need them most. And the Kaipoi Volunteer Fire Brigade is no exception. They're on call 24/7.
We are first call for fires, of course, and we do car accidents, medical assists. Certainly Fire Brigade are the first ones there. On most times, the Fire Brigade are the first call.
Paul Dallas is Chief Fire Officer at the Kaipoi Station and is himself a volunteer. But with several members retiring in recent months, the brigade is in need of new blood.
We only have to have a few people out of the town, people working, the family commitments again, even sports and other activities that people are doing, and it sometimes makes a turnout, particularly during the days, a bit thin.
Paul and his team are 6 firefighters short of the ideal 28, and he says they're struggling to find volunteers to fill the gap. This doesn't mean, however, that they go out understaffed.
We have Woodend to our north, Rangiora to our west, and Brooklands to our south, and if we need assistance in our job, then we make up the call by radio and we get further troops arriving.
But calling in the troops takes time, and as Sutherland's Timber found out recently, every second counts. Just after 6 in the morning, an electrical fault sparked a blaze that caused major damage.
You can see the smoke from the buildings. Come around the corner and here's 9 fire engines parked up. Without them we'd be looking at a much bigger loss than we've got.
If the brigade plays such a crucial role within the community, then why aren't more people volunteering?
You know, I think everybody's probably facing the same thing, and pressure of work, pressure of business, you know, people have got their own lives to lead and it's just the way things are.
And it's not just the lack of volunteers that's the problem. It seems those who do volunteer are in hot demand all over the place.
Because we rely so much on volunteers, it's difficult to get volunteers when there's so many jobs in the town that require it.
It's obvious volunteer firefighters play a huge role within their communities. You rely on them to be there when you need them most, but now they're relying on you. Marcus Irvine, Metro News.
And now to our Volunteer of the Week. This time it's 93-year-old Sally Burridge, who just can't keep away from the Canterbury Museum, as Gina Gerbic discovered.
Sally Burridge is not your average 93-year-old. Like most, she misses her family who have settled out of the city, and she has home help once a week. But unlike most, Sally is a self-professed workaholic, her efforts rewarded by a Volunteer Canterbury Volunteer Recognition Award. Sally volunteers twice a week at the Canterbury Museum, researching for the curators and the public.
I love history and finding out all these things.
Sally has worked in the museum since 1976, and when she reached retirement age, she stayed on as a volunteer.
I just carried on doing exactly what I did before, but without pay. So, and I love it. I really have always been interested in history, and I love delving into archives and finding the history of things that are in the museum, where they came from, when they came, why, all that sort of thing.
And her efforts aren't going unnoticed. When the bus to the museum changed its route, Sally thought she would have to quit. Instead, the museum insisted on paying for a taxi.
Because we find it so important that she is coming, because she adds so much value to the museum and to the staff working at the museum, but also to the wider community. We can't imagine the museum without her, really.
Not that they'll have to imagine. Sally says there'll be no stopping her for a long time.
About 18 months ago, my eldest son was saying, "Mum, isn't it about time you moved into a retirement village?" And I think they got the message that Mum wasn't ready to retire to a retirement village. Not as long as I can put one foot in front of the other.
So it's a continual quest for answers for one of Christchurch's oldest volunteers. Gina Gerbic, Metro News.
And that's Metro News for this week. Remember, if you have a story you think we should cover, make sure you send us an email at metronews@windowslive.com or call us on 03 940 7572. Join us again on CTV at 7 p.m. next Thursday. Good evening.